You are now tuned in to Hot Topics with Donna. And on this show, we do one thing: keep it real hot. That's honest, open, and transparent. If you didn't know, now you know. So sit back and unwind as we bring the vibe and a little bit of glorious sunshine to your heart, soul, and mind. Your lovely host, Hot Donna, will be with you in just a few moments. But while you wait, go ahead and set an atmosphere of peace in your space. If you can, cut the lights down low, get your hydration on, vibration zone. Cause tonight, you're about to receive some delicious food for your soul. Are you ready? 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 It's about to get You are indeed in the one and only place to be this evening. We appreciate you for joining us, and in just a few moments, we about to turn the heat all the way up. That's right. It's about to go down right now on Hot Topics with Donna. Show your virtual love by smashing that thumbs up and heart icon as many times as you can. And without further ado, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing your host, the one and only Hot Donna.
Hello, hello. Hey, Stephanie, how are you? All right, let's get started. Some light here. Okay, so hey guys, thank you for tuning in on another episode of Hot Topics with Donna. I am your host, Donna Taylor. Hot stands for honest, open, and transparent. And that's what we do here on this platform. It's all about networking and interviewing ordinary people doing extraordinary things in their lives and their communities. We have heard some amazing testimonies. And so I'm just looking forward to how God is evolving, even going into the new season and, with the new years coming up. And so my word tonight for this guest and for you, my viewers, is worth. And it comes from Psalms 139, 13 through 14. And it says, "You form my innermost being, shaping my delicate insides and my intricate outside, and wove them all together in my mother's womb. I thank you, God, for making me so mysteriously complex. Everything you do is marvelously breathtaking. It simply amazes me to think about it. How thoroughly you know me, Lord." And then it also said, God doesn't make a mistake. You are worthy because he made you worthy. And we have to know our worth. That's one thing, sometimes we may get into a funk, or we may not have the self-esteem that we need, or we may allow people, things, or situations to make us not feel worthy about who we are. So I'm going to bring my guest on, and then we're going to have some great dialogue. And I'm just excited about being able to meet new people, and you guys can chime in as well. Okay. I have sent my invite to my guest, so we'll just wait for her to come on. Hope you guys are doing good. Stephanie, how have you been? Hope you're doing good. So today's word is worth. Worth. So I'm going to wait for my guests to accept the invite. And then, hey, Miss Faye, come Friday, I will reach out to you so we can reschedule your interview. And if you would like, I can try on Friday. If you want to try again this Friday, you just let me know. I will inbox you, and we can discuss how you want to do your live, because we're still going to do your interview, love. We are still going to get it done. So right now, I'm just waiting for my guests. I hope you and your mom had an awesome birthday, Miss Faye. And the amazing thing is, I was born on my mother's birthday as well. So I know that's super, super excited and extra special when you can share a birthday with someone who birthed you. So my mother and I shared the same birthday. And so I'm just waiting for my guests to accept the invite, and then we will get started. So did y'all do anything, Miss Faye? Did you have dinner or anything? I will. I definitely will. So I'm waiting for my guests, but while I'm waiting, let's talk about worth. And like I tell you guys all the time, I'm always honest, open, and transparent with my viewers, and even with myself first. And when you can be honest and open and transparent with yourself first, then you are in a space where you don't mind sharing your shortcomings. You don't mind sharing your flaws, or whatever the case may be, because you're at a point in your life that, you know, you had a past and now we have a future, but our past has propelled us to be better people. It should. Let me say that. It should. And different struggles and challenges should allow us to become better people. But sometimes we may get stuck because we don't know our worth, because people in our lives, whether it's family member, whether it could be spouses, it could be a significant other, co-workers, church members, there's no exception. People can make you not feel worthy because they're trying to set a standard for you according to what they think about you. And that's why we have to always know who we are and whose we are. And when you know who you belong to, then that worth, that self-worth, that self-confidence comes into play. And then you can love the person that you are. You can truly love the person that you are. So worth, it can go a lot of different ways. And the beauty of it is, it says God made us a masterpiece. And what better person to do that? And so if he's saying that you're a masterpiece, that he formed you, your innermost you, inside and out, why would we allow people to tell us different? Because I just told you that he made us this way. Why? And so, as I wait for my guests, hey Sissy, how are you? Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. So as I wait for my guests, tell me a time that, or how do you deal with knowing your worth? Because like I said, I haven't always been in this place. I haven't always felt worthy or even remotely. But when I start loving Donna, flaws and all, then I said, I am worthy. And I don't need anyone to tell me that I'm worthy. And when I tell you guys all the time, I am not arrogant. I am just confident and assured in who I am in Christ, because he said that I am a masterpiece. I didn't say I was a masterpiece. The Father said that I'm a masterpiece. And so whenever you start looking at yourself in the mirror and you start saying, I don't like this, or I don't like that. And like I told you before, I didn't like my nose, but this is something I inherit from my dad's side. And so this is a masterpiece. He gave me this nose for a purpose. He designed me for a purpose. And so when I learned to accept that, then I'm able to say, you know what, you still got it going on, because my father said I am a masterpiece. Inside and out. Inside and out. We become masterpiece. When he formed you into your mother's womb, you were becoming a masterpiece. And that in itself should blow your mind. Because no one else can make you feel like a masterpiece. They can be like you're a dime piece, or you got a Coke bottle shape, or, you know, the guy's got his six-pack going on. But a masterpiece, do you really understand the details of a masterpiece? That means it's one and only designed. We can duplicate it, but it's not going to be the same as the masterpiece. You can try to walk in someone else's shoes, but you're never going to fill their shoes, because they are their own masterpiece. And that's why we have to be careful when we want to emulate someone else's life because we feel they got it all together. And they don't. So we have to know when to take a deep breath, and we have to know when we need to refocus and regroup when we've lost our self-worth. And sometimes it takes time. But in the process of it taking time, you can't stay there. You can't stay in a place of feeling unworthy, unloved. Oh, thank you. We can't stay in that place. Because when we allow the brokenness or the low self-esteem, take over, that's a hard place to get back, because I'm telling you guys, I was there. So let me see if I can bring her on. I saw her. If you see the invite, if you're on your phone, LaTasha, just look down at the bottom. You'll see green icon, and it should allow you to join my live. Or you can just send me a request to join my live. Okay? Because I saw you when you came on. So you can send me a request to join my live. But whenever we're in this state of not knowing our self-worth, we become fragile, and then we allow people to keep dumping their mess on us. And then when we start speaking up, then it's like, oh, you have an attitude. No, I don't have an attitude. I just know who I am. I know my worth now, so I won't allow you to dictate to me when you feel I should be worthy. Because at the end of the day, God said we are a masterpiece. A masterpiece. He didn't say less than a piece. He didn't say a short piece. He said a masterpiece. That's what he said. All right, I'm waiting. I'm waiting to add my guest. Just hold on. Let me see if she can do it again. Hold on. Just hold on, guys. You know how this technology works, but I'm going to keep talking and see if she can join in again. Because this is the part that I love. He said, shaping my delicate insides and my intricate outside. So therefore, even with me not loving my nose. Okay, so I'm still waiting. My guest is still trying to get on. So you guys know how we always have. LaTasha, are you on your I lost train of thought. Are you on your iPad or your phone? Because I'm clicking on you. I see when you're requesting to join, but it says guest is not available. Because I see when you're on, so we'll keep trying. If I have to go out and come back on, we would do that as well. And so when we start to navigate through this life, because guys, we all have a past, and that's the beauty of being able to see our growth from where we used to be. Because when I look back, you know, like that song, when I look back over my life, when I look back and truly look back over my life, I'm telling you, it is nothing but the grace of God that has kept me to move forward. And I see all the errors, all the mistakes that I've made, but yet and still he saw fitting, if you will, for me to go through those things and still be here today. Because once we keep navigating through this life and it beats us down, we try to, I'm still waiting, trying to get my guest on, we still try to figure out, how did I make it? And you know, and I was talking to my girlfriend this morning, and I told her, you know, it's so much death all around us. People are leaving, they just dying, you know, drug overdose, you know, committing suicide. And people don't believe that people are hurting in this season. And they are. And sometimes we take a blind eye and a deaf ear because we don't want to hear it, because it does not involve us. But if you know that someone is depressed or you see a change, then that should give you an inclination that, hey, something is just not right. And just because you don't feel you have the right to reach out to them, or even just to say, hey, are you okay? You seem different. Whether it's at work, wherever it may be, we have to love others just as we love ourselves, even if we don't know them. Because this may be God's way of saying, I need you to say hi to this person this morning. And we have to be obedient. We have to be obedient. Okay, we're going to get her on, and it is going to work. But worth is a powerful word. It's a very, very powerful word. And when, guys, I challenge everybody going into this new season, if you do not know your worth, if you know your worth, please, please, please try to know who you are. Try to find your worth. Even if you have to go to the Father and say, hey, you made me a masterpiece. So tell me, help me look deep inside me to find my worth. Because you can't depend on people to make you feel worthy. You just can't. And so I'm so excited about my guest being on. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It took a minute, sorry.
That's okay, that's okay. And so I've been talking, because how I do, you know, my podcast, I have a word for a guest. And sometimes right when I get ready to do it, you know, the Holy Spirit give me something different. But just reading your stuff, and especially your book, the stuff in your book, I was like, worth.
Wow.
Worth is the word. And so right now, before we even introduce you, have you always felt worthy, or what was the, how can I say, have you ever been in a place that you didn't feel worthy, and then how did you, if you had, become to know who you are and to become worthy, knowing who you are?
That is true. I was at a point where I didn't feel like I was.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like I questioned God on why, one, I'm still here.
Right.
What is his purpose for my life?
Mm-hmm.
And, just my whole being in what I was doing, where I was going. Um, I was at a crossroad when I finally just asked the right question. And
Yes.
I know that that really is when you really, really are at that turning point in your life, because now you're at a point where you're leaning on him
Mm-hmm.
versus your own self. And that was when I learned to love on myself.
Yes.
And in loving on myself, I began to accept those things that ordinarily I would be ashamed of, try and cover
Mm-hmm.
or put a mask on and act like when I walk out one way that I'm okay today. When
Yes.
in fact, I'm in a corner, balled up like an infant,
Yes.
and it's like, I don't want to do this. Or as I kind of coined it today, I don't feel like adulting today. But in actuality, it's not I don't feel like adulting today. I don't really feel like God made the right decision. So I was questioning him. And
Mm-hmm.
now I don't question him. I question in a different way. What would you have me to do? So
Amen.
he aligns me up from there. And that's when I felt like my worth changed, because now I knew that even in the mess that I was,
Mm-hmm.
he could use that to
Girl.
talk to the people, speak to the people, and no matter what shape, form, or fashion I was in. Because a lot of people like to say that when you call yourself a Christian, they like to say Christians are supposed to be perfect. And they don't realize there's only one perfect person. We are Christ-like. We are not Christ. And
Right.
so that is one of the things that when I came to that term, I stopped questioning God. Why am I here?
Mm.
Why did you make me this way? Why do I have this on me? Why do I have that on me? Why
Mm-hmm.
did I go through these situations? Because now they are a part of my basically ministry. They're part of my testimony. They are part of my books. They are part of my music. They are part of my model walk. They are part of me being a mom and just being a person in this world.
Wow. That is so, oh God, I got chills. That is so powerful. So tell people who you are and then where you reside. And then, girl, I've been writing so, I have so much stuff. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to try to cover it. But if we don't, I might have to bring you back because your book alone was
Mhm.
like, I was just like, wow. But just tell people who you are and where you reside, and then we're gonna just go right into this interview. Yeah, we're just gonna go into this interview.
Yes, ma'am. Well, one, I want to thank you for having me on, Miss Donna. It is such a pleasure. I've been watching and looking, and it's like just your energy from just reaching out and talking to you just in our messages and Facebook have been like very, very soothing and peaceful. So they were very welcoming. So thank you.
Thank you.
Um, my name is LaTasha Reaves. My author name is Elsie Jones Reeves, which is basically my name. That's my literal name. But
Okay.
as a musical artist,
Mhm.
an inspirational speaker, motivator, and just there for you when you need me, that name is She Did It. That name came one, as one of my friends said, She Did It. She gonna be there for you. She got you. It's everything, because it was accepting that I am a female, I'm a woman, and
Right.
I can do it.
And I'm glad you answered that because that was one of my questions about She Did It. And then I was like, how did you come up with it? And then you just answered that whole thing. Because I
Mhm.
find a lot of times, especially being women, especially being African American women, and it's not by far taken away from the other races because I can only speak for me because of who I am. I feel like people don't expect us to succeed. They don't expect us to succeed. They expect us to just be baby mamas, somebody boo, somebody, dime piece. And we are really taking the world by storm saying she did it. She did it because, for one, when you know that you hadn't been worthy because of somebody saying that you're not worthy, you know.
Mhm.
And like I tell people, I was in a marriage that I didn't feel worthy.
Exactly. I
because
was
I
in one too.
live up to their standards. But then when you live up to those standards and then they're not enough, then you try to change to be this, and then that's not enough. And then after a while, you don't know your worth.
You don't even know who you are.
Girl, when I left that marriage, I
Hmm.
didn't know who Donna was.
Hmm.
And that's why your quote was so profound, because it says everything happens for a reason. Live it, love it, learn from it, and make your smile change the world. But don't let the world change your smile.
Yep.
And I've been there too. I've been there too. Because when we were growing from childhood to, middle school, high school, we
Hmm.
want people to notice who we are.
Right.
But we want them to notice who we are, but yet and still, when we don't get that, and then it boils over into adulthood,
Hmm.
we're like, who am I? You know? And when and I listened to your songs too, I told you I was just like, wow. And I'm thinking, when she wrote this quote, did you allow others to take your smile because of not feeling worthy?
Different periods in my life,
Mhm.
I felt like my smile wasn't perfect
We have
because of
Mika said that's me still trying to figure it out. So maybe you can say what you were gonna say and then help, elaborate on that.
right. Yeah. So basically, like at different periods over time in my life, from youth until adulthood,
Mhm.
um, there were times when the smile didn't seem like it was genuine. It
Right.
was a smile for outside, but when you went inside, you cried, you were hurting. It was like, I don't want to smile too big because they might think my teeth are some kind of way. I got a big smile or my
Right.
teeth is not pretty enough because it was societal things. And
Mhm.
then if you don't have that support system to really encourage you, that also affects you as well. And so it does go back to your work, but it also goes back to your support system as well, because you have to know that even when nobody else supports you, you have to know that, and this is me, I literally end up being really by myself at a point where I
Mhm.
was looking around needing someone, and the
Right.
only people there were my kids. And well, I'm supposed to be their stronghold, I'm supposed to be their backbone, I'm supposed to be strong for them,
Right.
but here I am crying because I have nobody there. But then that's when I found out that literally that's where wants you. He wants you where
Mhm.
you're dependent upon him.
Mhm.
And then when you go to where the day that I love my smile, it's strange because it was a good male friend of mine. He and I were not in a relationship, but
Right.
he asked me, have you looked into the mirror? And I did mention a particular statement in my book about that. That was for me, a turning point for me, because he told me, did you look in the mirror?
Mhm.
He says, you look in the mirror. And then I look, and that's when I actually put in there, and that's where the title Mirror and Perfection came from.
Right.
Because I actually sat and looked in the mirror. Normally we'll go past, do everything in the mirror, brush your teeth, wash our face,
Mhm.
and we do everything from combing our hair,
Right.
but we don't really look in that mirror.
No, we
We
don't.
see, we see it's a fog over our eyes. So when that is lifted and we stand there in that mirror and we look at our tired faces or we look at the naps on our head,
Yes.
well, who told us our hair was nappy? Are
Right.
we going based on what we see or what everybody around us has said? So then that's when you find your worth. When you love the naps in your head.
Girl,
Everybody has a different wave pattern. Everybody has a different skin color.
I didn't like my nose.
Everybody knows.
And
Hmm.
that was from my father. And I was like, I don't like my nose. But when you know who you are, especially when you know who you are
Hmm.
in life, I'm like, hey, I'm good. Because, and that's when I was saying about the work. It says he made us a masterpiece. When before we was even conceived, he already knew what you and I needed.
Mhm.
But like you go back to saying, we allow people
Mhm.
make us look and say, well, who told you your nose was big? Who told you your hair
Mhm.
was?
Yep. Yep.
And so since we're going to talk about the book, we're going to talk about your book. Um, so how did you come up with the name Mirror Imperfection?
This, the mirror is a literal and not so literal mirror,
Mm-hmm.
because the mirror actually is the eyes that you're looking at.
Right. Mm.
Um, and I chose that because when I was writing it, when I got to the end, I went through all kind of titles and stuff. I said, well, what really was the um, focal point of why I did that?
Mm-hmm.
This is basically a journey of self evolution, changing self, finding self. It was a self journey. And it also goes back to my journal that I did, the road to owning your flaws.
Right.
Okay, in order to own your flaws, you have to see them first.
Exactly.
You have to acknowledge that you have something different. You either have what I call tiger stripes.
Right.
Everybody's calling them tiger stripes now. It used to be shame of them. Why be shamed? Because a lot of us got those because we gave birth to a child. And
Exactly.
that's a blessing in itself.
Exactly.
So again, we're finding areas that God blessed us in, and we're telling Him to be ashamed of that. Lord, why should I? Why
Right.
should I be happy about this? Why should I accept this? I found myself, I got a little scratch over here. Oh, no, no, no. So we're covering it up. So
Right.
in the mirror reveals everything,
Yes. Yes.
but we have to actually place ourselves into a position to be
Mhm.
able to do that. And I actually came to that point when I had became injured, and I had to look around and work around
Mhm.
some very hard challenges, but you had to look inside. And
Right.
from there, it was like, well, I'm at a point where I can't do anything else. This is where God have you. So see, sometimes rock bottom is not the worst place to be.
Oh, no, it's not. No, it's
It's
not.
actually where you actually get your beginning. And
Mm-hmm.
I found that out. Rock, because that's why I was like, rock bottom isn't so bad. Yeah, when you're in it, it is.
It
But
is.
when you come out of it and you look back at it, here is that person that's like that diamond that's been down there.
That diamond in the rough
You
that we
wouldn't
don't
know
know
that.
about.
Hmm.
And I loved it when you said you have to own your own flaws. And when I was in my state of not feeling worthy, and when I gave myself to Christ, that's when I start to appreciate who I was. And like you said, when you're in that state, it feels terrible because you want to be loved. You want to be this person that people see and they're like, oh, she's so beautiful. But when you are not there, that's the pain. But when I tell people, when we take the mask off, the mask of hiding the real us, hiding who we really are, that's when we can start to see, like you said, when we look in the mirror, we can start seeing the flaws. When I looked in the mirror, I saw my nose and I didn't like it. But when I started to know who I was and love who I was, I'm like, okay, well, since
I
this,
love my nose.
yeah, this is the nose he gave me, so I'm going to work with this. Because
Hmm.
also say when we're in that state, and just like you said, we're questioning him. We're questioning his work. And he said, when I read it, we're a masterpiece. And so that means that you and I, we're one of a kind. People cannot duplicate, they can duplicate it, but it's not going to be authentic because they can't duplicate what he's already done.
Hmm. And that's when I came to the understanding. So for Mika, this is when I figured it out. So I found that day, I'm gonna say this, that day, um, I found that I was avoiding my health
Right.
because I was continuously going places. And
Mm-hmm.
I, because when you sit there and look at your flaws, you start looking at the
Yep.
true you. You start seeing, well, I got these bags under my eyes. I got this pimple on my face.
Right.
I got this on my. So then you start questioning this, you start questioning that, you start looking at your body. Okay, now that you've looked at all those areas, then you go back and ask the questions, how did you get them?
Right. Right.
Okay. So you got to start, and that's called peeling off those layers. Because once you start peeling off them layers, you start seeing, well, if I got more sleep,
Right.
I won't have this. So then now you're taking ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I want to put some makeup on. Okay, but what am I covering up?
Right.
I'm
Right.
covering up that something may be wrong. Maybe I need to go to the doctor, or maybe I need to go work out, or maybe I need to start making my hair appointments a bill for me
Right.
instead of it being, oh, I can't afford it. I can't afford not to go to the hairdresser and
Exactly.
get my hair done. I
Exactly.
cannot afford to go get me some clothes. So when you start making your own personal needs a bill, like your vitamins, going to the doctor, when you start making that
Right.
your health important, meaning your temple important, then you will start seeing that value. But nobody else will value you
Exactly.
until you value yourself. And
Exactly.
that was when I found that myself, my ex, he started looking at me so differently. And I wondered why. And I got to be personal with that because I noticed he was looking at me so differently. He said, something's changed about you.
Wow.
I said, I don't understand. I'm not doing anything different.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, I was starting to go to the doctor more. I was starting to take my vitamin more. I was starting to look more. I was working out. I was, um, I was actually reading more because I can't say everybody's going to read the Bible more because everybody's not at that stage in their life because
Right.
that's a turning point. Some people may just actually start doing meditation.
Right.
Okay, whatever it is to get you back at peace, that's fine.
Wow.
You
Wow.
I'm telling you, I was not reading the Bible. So that's why I'm saying not everybody is there. So there is a path for you. You have to find out what works for you. But you got to start working on you on the inside because what's on the inside does come out. And I found that my eyes was because I was anemic. My anemia had dropped so low
Wow.
that it was affecting my heart, which was causing me to be tired, which was causing my nails to not grow, which was causing my hair to thin out, which was causing all this other stuff that I was having problems with, that I was mad about. So
Mm.
see, when you start looking at you
Right.
inside, not what everybody else say, because they can say, oh, she looked bad, or her face is slave to the gods, which
And
is wonderful.
Mika
You
said,
should look good come out.
she said she's literally crying. She said, "Thank you for this."
Oh,
And
you are welcome, Mika.
try not to get emotional because I do get emotional. So, but and that's what this platform is about. Because when God gave it to me, I was like, okay, Lord, well, I don't be doing no live because I don't be doing all this. But when you see this, it makes
Mm-hmm.
it all worth it. Because just like you said in your book, if one person read my book and change, then you did what you were supposed to do. And I'm telling you, I am going to order your book. But
Oh,
I,
thank you.
I'm gonna tell you. I don't know. Have you read your reviews?
I've been reading majority of them. I haven't read all of them. I'm sitting down and reading some of them.
So we're gonna talk about your book because I feel this is fitting, and maybe this is just the way the Holy Spirit has led us.
Oh,
Or this
okay, Miss Donna, don't make me cry.
this because you know what, I'm all about allowing the Holy Spirit do whatever He wants to. Because I have my, you know how it is. We have our own agenda. And
Mhm.
I'm gonna go because I said we're gonna start off talking about your modeling and your acting and all this kind of stuff. But when you open the door about the book, The Mirror Imperfection, because see, I know about those imperfections because sometimes I have to catch myself to make sure Donna don't go back and look at those imperfections because of something someone may have said, maybe directly or indirectly, because we can easily.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so I got 3 reviews. And the first one in your book, so is 5 star. It is 5 star.
Awesome.
It is five.
Awesome.
It is 5 star. And so a guy named Michael wrote, a guy,
Mhm. Mhm.
I love this book. Great book. A wonderful read and makes you motivated. It's very inspiring and inspirational. Definitely worth the money and definitely worth the time to read. Looking forward to reading the author's next book. A man, a man. And we're going to get back.
Mhm.
And then Nigel, I'm sure this is a man, said this book is fascinating. There is a lot of things I didn't know about. I've learned, and I recognize that the whole, he said, I recommend that the whole world read it. And then Crystal wrote, by reading this book, a whole new world of perspective has opened up to me. I felt that I find a lot of myself in the reading. Just
Aw,
because I smile and laugh doesn't mean everything is okay. I can't wait for the next book.
that is awesome.
Yeah. And I was like, wow. I was like, wow. Because you know what? That means the book was needed. And not only for women, because these reviews I read, two of them were from men. And you know, some men don't read.
They don't. They
Don't read.
don't.
But men hurt just like we do.
They do.
They have imperfections just like we do, but they allow their homeboys to pump them up so they won't have to face the reality of it. And then they get in relationships. And then that's how we get torn down being women.
Right.
Because they have imperfections, but they don't want to admit them. And so then when they get into relationships, they tear us down, and then they make us feel and look,
Bad.
like you said, well, you know what, you putting on like a few pounds here. When we have
Mhm.
been comfortable in the skin that we're in, but yet and still they make us feel less than, and then we don't know our worth.
Mhm.
And when I was reading your reviews, I was like, my God, because you know what? When you can have a man admit where he's at, then you have a man that you know that's not afraid of being vulnerable to
Right.
their imperfection. Hey Jacob, you
Hey,
have that.
Jacob.
You see what I'm saying? And so when I read your reviews, I was like, wow, this is powerful. But I am going to order your book because I planned on meeting you one day. And when you said, let me read your thing, you said you woke up one day in what I had been calling my life and realized that I had not been living. And this is the point. Hey, Victoria, this is the point where I asked you, was you not living your life because of what someone else said that you should be living?
Um, yeah, because I was afraid of what other people thought.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of a focus because it was never like really taught to really self-evaluate yourself. Look
Right,
into yourself and love on yourself for who you are.
right, right.
That's where and I'm gonna say that it happened a lot in our community because
Yeah,
you're taught certain things to do as a young lady.
right,
We're
right.
taught to be strong.
Mhm.
We're taught, to be driven. We're taught to be independent and be
Right,
nurturers. But there are some middle parts that were missing throughout that time frame. And at that time, I don't even disagree with what my mom did. She did what was best and
right.
what she had learned.
Mm-hmm.
But there are still areas where you as a person have to grow.
Exactly.
And after she passed, that was when life seemed to end because I didn't know who I was at that time.
Wow.
I lived for my mom and my brother and taking care of my family.
Right.
So when she passed, it was like I hadn't lived. And for years after that, I lived to be there for my kids, take care of my brother. I knew to go to work, get a degree, but and take care of them. That was it. If I had a relationship, be there for them.
Right.
Not once did it remind you or they tell you, in all things, don't forget yourself.
Right.
Because, they tell you to make sure you pray to God and everything else.
Right.
But guess what? There is something in the middle that's missing.
Yeah.
There's the head, which is your God, your husband if you're married.
Right.
And then there's you. But they didn't say how to bridge that.
Right.
You have to make sure you're okay. They say it, but where was the guidance? What would you need to do? Because that also helps in having healthy relationships.
Exactly.
And that is something that has not been fostered in our community.
No.
And I'm saying that because there are so many females that are so independent. I don't need a man. That is a bold, wrong move. And there are going to be a lot of people mad at me for this one. But they're going to be. Because
Exactly.
you don't need them, as you say.
Right.
But yet, we need that provider. We need that helpmate.
Right.
Well, we are that helpmate.
Right.
We are the helpmate.
And if you think about it, if God didn't say that, if God didn't want that, he would have never made us.
Right.
He wouldn't have never said Adam needed a helpmate. He would have never said those things.
He would have never created us.
Exactly.
Jacob, real quick.
Is he still on?
That's right. Jacob, he'll hear it. Jacob, we were talking about the males that have did reviews on my book online.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, yes.
Such a lie. My husband is literally God sent and saved my life. And I love Victoria. I never met Victoria. She's such a sweetheart too.
She is.
Yeah.
We know he loves you and he take care of you. But both of y'all help each other, baby.
Yeah.
That is a good mix. That's a good balance. When you are weak, he is strong. And when he is weak, you are strong for him. So you both help each other.
And and I like your transparency because when you talked about how just going through the motions, how you try to make it appear that you had it all together. I so know that because you know what, I did it with my late husband. We pretend that we had it all together. We go to church, and people look at us and be like, oh, but then we're not even talking to each other while we're riding to church. And then we get up in church and praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. And then leave and don't talk.
Right.
And I told him one day we was going, I said, you know what? It's time for us to take the mask off and stop making it seem that we have it all together. When our marriage is failing, we're falling apart. And because we're living a lie, and what we was trying to do, as you said, we're trying to mask to make people think, oh yeah, I'm good. But you're not.
Mm-mm.
And that's why I love when you say, when we can do these things, we're doing ourselves a disservice. Because I feel, and you can, answer this too, I felt when I had people food, at least I thought, that it was good. But when I became just honest, open, and transparent and took my mask off, I realized that people weren't as food as I thought they were.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever feel that way?
I did, because some of them was like, girl, I was so glad when you was going to be real with yourself. I said, y'all so wrong for that. Why y'all let me do that?
Right.
And some of them, like I lost some friends. And then I found out some of them were not truly my friends because they were the ones that were encouraging that foolery that I was encouraging myself about.
Right.
So, and then some of them was like, okay, you out here as a model, you're doing this, you're doing that. I said, I love what I do.
Right.
My walk as a model, that is that's the inspiration to other girls to accepting that was what I did. But here's the thing, I was also dealing with things myself, trying to walk down that runway and take them pictures when a lot of times I had to learn to love myself in them pictures. I had to learn to love my walk. I had to learn to love that I couldn't walk like other people because my body wasn't shaped like them.
Right.
Once I began to love on me,
Mm-hmm.
my whole modeling career took a whole turn because it began to show on the runway. It began to show in the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So learning to find your worth,
Mm-hmm.
it affects every level in your life.
Every.
Relationships, your
Yes.
interaction with your family, what type of people are in your circle.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned them seasonal people. Some people are there to help you get to the next level.
Level, and then it's
And
time.
some of them people need to stop in your life because they actually are there. They're your hindrance,
Mm-hmm.
but they're also a teaching.
Yes.
So nobody is wrong in your life. They're just, their season ended. They did what they had to do in your life. And now it's time that we have to learn to let them go. And a lot of times we hold on to things and we shouldn't.
Girl. And I interviewed, you know, Karina, right?
Hmm.
And her and I was talking about that, and you know, and she was saying how it's so hard for her to let people go, you know, because of her nature, who she is. And it's okay because you can't help your nature because he gave it to you. And you know, and when I was talking to her, God gave it to me as a tree with leaves on it. And when
Hmm.
the wind blows, some leaves fall off. And just like you said, it doesn't mean that you can't still love them or care about them. It just means that that's their time, so
Hmm.
fall off. And and I said, and he may do this shift 3 or 4 times on this tree. And I said, and the leaves that are still there, those are the ones that still supposed to be connected to you. And I find that we as women, because of our nature, nurturing spirit, we want to hold on to people because we just want them to be okay. But for
Right.
me, I had to learn that I'm not a savior. I can't be their savior.
Hmm.
How do you handle that when you have to let someone go that you may have an awesome relationship with, a friendship, but how do you handle when it's time to cut them? And we know when it's time to cut them because he's giving us warning, to say,
Yeah,
hey,
he does. He
so
does.
how do you cut them off or let them go?
That is something that, ooh, it is a struggle even now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning that so much now because after releasing my book and after releasing my first CD,
Mm-hmm.
I went through a pruning season because it was like it became weight for me
Right.
to keep reaching back. I felt like I was reaching back. I felt like I was constantly trying to, hey, I ain't heard from this person in a while. And then
Right.
when I called, the responses weren't always good. Nothing that they did. It's just that their conversations was, I used to talk like that. So
Mm.
see, when you start noticing
Mm-hmm.
what you used to do
Mm-hmm.
and where you used to be,
Mm-hmm.
and you start hearing that term, I used to, I
Right.
used to, I
Right.
used to.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's just really tugging at you that this doesn't feel right anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when it's time to start severing those ties. Some of them you will just basically visit them when it's that time. Because see, some of those friends are just there, hey, let's go out when you want to go out.
Right.
Some of them friends are just for that,
Right.
just to go out friends.
Right.
Go out and have fun.
Right.
Then you have those friends where you want to go when you want to go and shop. Then
Right.
you have those friends that are your get together, chit chat, have a good time,
Right.
and reminisce.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have those friends. So you have those periods in your life where you do that. So you
Right.
need that.
You do.
But
And
then you have to understand if you're in business, you need those friends around you that are, as they say, bosses.
Right.
But being bosses, you also got to know the balance of being a boss.
Exactly.
Because even though you are a boss, there has to be a follower, and then there has to be a leader.
Yeah.
Lead in your way, not in every way.
Right. And a question, because I know you were in this girl boss. Y'all do y'all have a vision board party coming up in January. So are you
Hmm.
close friends, or can different people join? If like, could they be a part of this, or is there a step to being a part of the girl boss club?
With being a part of the Boss Girls group, this is a startup of a sisterhood. A
Okay.
lot of these women are in business. We're
Mhm.
encouraging each other.
Right.
Um, a lot of these women are in business.
Mhm.
And that seems to be hard for women to
Mhm.
be,
Mhm.
not all of us are friends. We are women that just met each other in
Right.
business. Each
Right.
one of us have our own strength. So
Mhm.
in essence, we are a boss in our own lane, but we're
Right.
coming together to help each other,
Mhm.
build each other, and give knowledge at the same time. No challenges, no nothing. And this is not the first time I've done this stuff. This is not the first time we've been around each other. We've been on retreats. We did stuff. But we came together, shared information, and each one of us dropped a nugget that helped one another. So the network and the growth in between that has been phenomenal. I
Yeah.
can say that because meeting the ladies last year, our businesses, each one of us, have grown in different ways.
And isn't that a blessing? And and that's, I am all about sisterhood. And for me, sisterhood doesn't necessarily have to mean that you look like me. Sisterhood,
Hmm.
be whoever is going to pour into me, and I can pour back into them. Because I find, and here I am again, I'm going to say it, we as African American
Hmm.
women, we tend to have a hard time with that, because if you're doing this, then it takes away from me. No, if you're doing
Hmm.
this, and if I can go to you and say, hey, I need help. Can you help me in this area that I'm lacking in? But we don't want to do that because I don't want you to get ahead. You don't want me to get ahead. And that's why we are still stagnant, some of us, until we decide to pull our own self out of it and say, I need to be with like-minded people. I need to be with like-minded
Right.
sisters that can encourage me when I'm down, that can say, you know what, you don't try it this way long enough. How about trying it this way? And not saying that, oh, well, I told you you shouldn't have did it that way, but you're saying, hey,
Hmm.
I've been watching and you've been trying it this way for too long. So, hey, let me just show you if we can do it this way, if you can tweak it
Right.
without feeling,
Hmm.
because there's room for all of us to win.
Right.
And
And
I,
see, the thing about it is that's true. And that's what we talked about. We definitely gonna talk about some of that. We got a retreat coming up, our annual retreat coming up in March as well. And that's what we do there. That's what we will do. We just had a meeting recently. And that's
right.
what we talked about. Some of us have the same business, but each one of us,
Mhm.
even though we're in the same business, have our own niche
Right.
within the business. And that's what people fail to realize. You and I can sell jewelry together, same company, everything. But
Exactly.
guess what? You market for one group, I market for another. And if you are short on something, I may have it, give it to you.
That's
Will you
right.
lose a customer? No, not necessarily. Because there are so many people in this world.
Yeah.
You can't get to everyone, and neither can I. But
Right.
guess what? We have built a bond between the two of us that helps each other grow, that your customers know that these people are here for me and not just for the almighty dollar. Are we here to make money? Yes, we are here to make money.
But
So
some,
we're not going to make it just off you.
no, and sometimes we may also be in it to minister to the person that
Exactly.
God may send us. And if we're so busy worrying about the dollar, or we're so busy worrying about getting ahead, we may miss what He's trying to do. And
Mm-hmm.
and that's just like, even I saw where, you do this Christmas thing. You call it Friendsmas, if I'm pronouncing it
Yes.
for your friend. And I thought that was amazing because I don't have many friends. I have five.
Hmm.
I truly call my sisters, and we're all not of the same race. And when we
Hmm.
walk into a room or go somewhere, people look at us because they want to know who we are, not because one stand out. They just want to know how we got connected, and they see how we interact with each other. You see, and they are like my sisters, like we were born and raised together, but we all come from different backgrounds, but we have learned to mesh together, and we're able to be each other's safe place.
Right.
You know, when I,
That's a key word there, safe place.
yeah, and when I'm not my best, and when I mess up, I don't have to hear them say, well, I told you so.
No.
I hear, what can I do to help
Hmm.
you where you need to be?
And that is exactly what a lot of the, like right now, the people that are around me now,
Mhm.
I love the people that are around me now. Um, Days when I have weak moments where
Mhm.
I'm tired. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? Why? Because there are a lot of attacks that happen on a daily basis, especially with doing certain things. You have people that see you in a box
Mhm. Mhm.
and they have where you should be. They don't see the vision that God has given you. They
Right.
don't see where God's taking you. They
Right.
don't see how what you're doing is going to do things, minister and uplift and encourage people. At
Mhm.
first, I was like, okay, this goes back to I gotta read Church because of when he gave me write a book. I was like, why? Really? Why? Well, I need you to get this. Why? I like my words to myself. I like myself. I like my space. I like this.
Right.
And
Right.
that's where when you read my book, you'll see something called comfort zone. Oh my gosh, you want me to do what? Talk to people? Yes, I want you to get out. I want you to talk to people. Well, why? Like these are the stuff that, it's weird for others, but these are the questions and these are the situations you go through when you're trying to step outside and do something different. So when you going through these what they call attacks in different ways of now you out here, you have this person saying you shouldn't do this. Why are
Right.
you doing that? What else you do? You have all those negative words being thrown at you. Here is my friend. She be like, girl, don't worry about them. They don't know what God got for you. And
Right.
here's the other girl. Girl, please. I like what you read. Read me some more. What you gonna do? What's
Right.
your next project? This is how they redirect all of that.
Right.
Don't focus on that. Focus on this. So changing the atmosphere and uplifting at the same time. And then once we say, oh boo, that it bounced off me, let's keep it moving. And
Right.
we taking it and moving. Because all of them are not spiritually based. They're
Mhm.
not reading the Bible. A
Right. Right.
lot of them are just living that life.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's like, I went through the period where, oh, she's not in the church. That child has so much in her that it's not the church that she has to be in, it's inside of her.
Exactly.
Her
Exactly.
words, her
Exactly.
words. The temple is you,
That's
it's
right.
not the building,
It's
it's
not
you. It's
exactly.
what comes out of you, what radiates from you. Her light is so wonderful. Her words are encouraging. Any given day, we can call each other
Mm.
and know sometimes we're so connected. Like they knew I was sick recently. And
Mhm.
they was like, you were on my mind today.
Right.
And this is me. None of them are my biological sister.
Exactly.
You were on my mind today. And that's what I was like. So we would just reach out. We heard you don't have to talk every day, but
No.
they will literally say it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that is what you need when you're on this journey. And
Exactly.
it's so encouraging. That has been helpful.
And Crystal,
So helpful.
so true. Crystal said, because we as women, when we can celebrate each other's win and even celebrate their growth and be
Hmm.
there even in their shortcomings or their challenges, do you know how powerful we will be?
That It's amazing. It really is. It
We will
really
be
is.
we will be so powerful because if you're still doing what I'm doing, you're in your lane and I'm in mine. And if I'm trying to ride your lane, then I'm not going to be able to go where God wants me to go.
Nope.
I'm not. And that's why I tell people I stay in my lane. Am I perfect? No, I'm not. But what I have learned to do is get in a still place where I can hear his voice. Because, I was saying
Exactly.
sometimes we get so busy with the chaos and the static that we can't hear what he wants us to do. And then we wonder why we get in trouble. We wonder why we be messing up so many times. You be like, okay, well, Lord, I thought you said to go here. And then he'll be like, well, I didn't because you know what? You're too busy. You're too
Exactly. And that's what one of my friends told me this time. You're so busy. I said, I know how to disconnect. You just don't know I disconnected. He was like, well, I didn't know. You're right. That other day when you weren't talking to me, yeah,
right,
I took my moments. I don't have to ask permission for my moment.
girl.
When I feel I need to, I do. And a lot of times it's good.
And Crystal said, I love
Oh,
seeing how you want
yes.
women to give me um what she say, cold chills, the back of the Lord is moving right now. Exactly. And that's the beauty of when we know who we are in Christ. Because when
Mhm.
we know who we are in Christ, then we truly can encourage our sisters.
Right.
And just like your book, when we can look in the mirror and see our
Mhm.
imperfections. I didn't say people, I said we. Because when we can
Right.
see our imperfections, then we can say, okay, all right, Lord, I see these imperfections, but how are you going to help me deal with my imperfections? Because, like me, my nose, I ain't like it, you know?
And that's the question I asked God. I was like,
How you going
okay,
to
God, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. Okay, so literally, what I'm supposed to do? Like, you literally did. Now that's when he has you
Yes,
where he wants you.
yes,
And when you find, like, I literally said I was by myself. I felt like I was, but see, when you're dealing with all of that and you're not in yourself, you haven't seen that mirror. That's
mm-hmm,
when when being alone is scary, when
yes,
fear bothers you.
mm-hmm,
But when you look at the fear and you realize that's not of God, it don't bother you.
right, right,
Because now with God, when you alone, you love it. You're like, yeah, I get you. It's a fun time for you now.
right, right.
It's a fun time for you now. So
And
that's
so,
the difference.
we're like, when you started your book, when you start writing your book, did you always know you wanted to write? Did you,
No,
or what inspired you to start writing?
one of my male friends
Mm-hmm.
with a aggravating stuff, and I told him that was bothering me one day. He found a journal of mine.
Mm-hmm.
What's all this writing going on? I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Excuse me. He came to me and said, you need to get this out. I said, no, this is not where I'm going. I said, God ain't told me to do this. And
Right.
so we kept moving forward. And then after that, I visited again, and then it started nagging at me. So yeah, we went on because he says, let's go. So I didn't move on my own. I moved because God said do it.
Right, right, right. And so, did you have any desire growing up writing, or you? Because I like to journal too. I've been journaling. Well, we used to call it our diaries when we were growing up. We didn't know what the term journal was. We just call it a diary. But I've always liked to write. So, did you write as a child?
Oh yes, my mother had us journaling all the time. Education was number one in our household.
Mhm.
Um, I was always to myself and kind of quiet and a little shy, so I always had issues writing. So she says, write. I had issues telling people what I thought. She said, right.
Right.
She says, can't nobody take certain things from you.
Mm-hmm.
These are your thoughts. Put it out there. It
Right.
helped in development. It helped in growth.
Mm-hmm.
Helped me grow as a person. And then afterwards, it was like writing became my therapy.
Right.
Whenever something bothered me, I just wrote about it. Between the music and the writing, the two became one.
Wow. And that's how you,
Became an outlet for me.
became to do spoken word, right?
Hmm.
And so is your spoken word a lot of truth, if you will? These are your
Yes.
truth, because I know some people may just put stuff together, but when you do your spoken word, is this your truth?
Different things that happen, different things cross my mind.
Right.
Sometimes I'll see something and it'll inspire me to write, and I'll write.
Right.
Like I saw some water dripping one day. I wrote about water.
Wow.
Um, I was going to the doctor getting my blood pressure done one day, and I was like, listen to that. I wrote about that
Mm-hmm.
because it intrigued me.
Mm-hmm.
Hear my heartbeat. And then another time becoming a mom, the beauty of becoming a mom. And
Right.
then when I lost my mom,
Mm.
it was like everything went cold.
Wow.
Nothing was there.
Wow.
Everything went black. And then I started back writing again because I had so much on my mind when I got hurt. I got burned in the military, and I just didn't know what to do. So I started back writing again.
Wow.
I wrote about the burn. I wrote about the pain. I wrote about different things associated with it.
And and
And then it
so
went on from there.
and so how long has it been since your mom passed away?
She passed away when I was 18. So it's
So
been a while.
right. So with that hurt and pain, how did you, being if you're getting ready to be an adult, well, they say an adult, how so did your would you say your writing helped you get through the grieving?
Mhm. It did. It actually did. Um, not only did it help me get through losing my mom,
Mm-hmm.
it helped me get through losing myself,
Right.
being a mom,
Mm-hmm.
and it helped me get through the highs and lows of a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
It helped me get through that transition of being married,
Mm-hmm.
the in between transition
Right.
of married and yet single, and then divorce. And I
Right.
say married yet single because our divorce was extended.
Right.
But during that time, I was learning about myself. I
Mm-hmm.
was learning about me. I
Right.
took ownership of a lot of things that
Mm-hmm.
ordinarily you wouldn't,
Right.
because in the divorce, there somebody has faults.
Oh yeah.
It's somebody's fault,
Mm-hmm.
whether you want to realize it or not. And so I took how much blame that I should take. I had to decide that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then I moved forward.
Right.
So that was part of my healing so that I can be ready for the next chapter in my life,
Right.
to be a better mother for my kids, to be a better woman, to be a better sister, daughter,
Right.
and just prepare for, should that be in my near future, my husband.
Right.
Because I believe that I chose that man, not God choosing that man.
Sure.
I'm saying that. I have to be very transparent because
Yes, but you know
I
what?
loved him, but there are things that we miss.
We want what we want when we want
We want. So sometimes God gives us what we want, even though it's not what He intended for us.
it. Yes, yes. And you know what? But the beauty of it is when you can take ownership. And I totally get it because both times when I got married, I knew,
Hmm.
but I did.
It doesn't mean that I didn't love him. Doesn't mean that I wasn't in love with him.
Doesn't mean
But
know that when you have a relationship with Christ and when he says when a man finds say when Donna and LaTasha go out and fight, but you see what I'm saying? But when we want what we want, we want what we want. We don't care if
Right.
they're saying no. We're saying, but Lord, he's so fine, and I just need him, and I just want him.
But you know, that goes back to what you're talking about when you know your worth. You know that you're deserving of more. And
Yes,
sometimes you settle. And that is something that goes back to your worth. Because if you're worth more and you just settle for less, you just did. I'm not even going to talk, compare that to the businesses
but,
around here.
but you
But just know that you are better than that.
right, and what we're saying, guys, we're not saying that our spouses wasn't worthy. We're just saying
Mm-mm.
when we know our worth, then we would have waited until God had sent us that person, because we can want what we want, but if it's not what he designed for us, then that's why we have divorces.
Yeah,
And
and that's when we have our pains. That's when we have a lot of other stuff. And it doesn't mean that they weren't your husband or your wife. That
right,
just means that that time was not right.
exactly.
That's why they say seasons. So you may have went ahead of your time. So they may have been right for you, but just not at that time.
Exactly. And and like I
So,
tell people, I know, and me and my late husband, we talked about it, and
mm-hmm,
I I knew my own motives. And
mm-hmm,
when I got married, my motives was not right. You see what I'm saying? And so
right,
whenever him and I tried to divorce or we wanted to go our separate ways, God didn't allow it. And so when he passed, I know that because of my disobedience, I had to endure. You see what I'm
mm-hmm,
saying? Everything
yeah,
that was attached to him, I had to endure. And so
right,
therefore, when he passed away, him and I
mm-hmm,
was at a great and an amazing place. But during to get there, we had to learn a different type of love. We had to learn
right,
we had to learn to love again. It wasn't the same type of love that you
mm-hmm,
first get married, because like I said, the marriage was based on a lie. It wasn't a truth, if you will. And so
right,
we had to decide that our love is going to look different from everybody else's love. But it
right. And see, that's what we have to accept. And that's one thing that I know now going forward is that we
right,
have to accept some truths. There
right.
is something that I may not like about you. There's some things you may not like about me.
Mm-hmm.
There is a balance we have to understand that you're a man, I'm woman, or nowadays you are who you are, I am who I am.
Right,
You were raised differently and I was raised differently. So we have to learn to agree to disagree and respect the differences and understand that it's two became one.
yes.
No matter male or female.
Mm-hmm.
Two are no longer I. It
Right,
is now we.
right,
And that in itself, no matter who you with, no matter what stage you are with, you have to understand that it no longer I did this or I go that way. It is we.
right.
And
And
that was something that in anything you do,
mhm.
business, um, or anything you do, you have to understand. You have a partnership, you're working with someone, you have to respect that boundary.
Exactly.
Include your partner.
And a lot of times we, like you said, we don't set boundaries. And when we start to know our worth and know that piece of us, that's when we can start setting boundaries. But I found, because I don't know if you have, when you don't know your worth and you don't know that you're worthy, you don't have boundaries. You just accept anything. You accept anything because you don't know your worth. But when you come, like grandma said, when you come to your senses, child, when you come to
Yes.
your senses, then you can start setting boundaries about what you're going to accept and what you will, and what you won't. And when
Hmm.
you start accepting those boundaries and when we know our worth, then you start to see the people, the truth them.
Right. And it changes who's around you, who you'll be around. It actually,
Yes.
your peace,
Yes.
you can become peaceful. You understand and you respect, okay, this person has, they may be blunt with things, but that's who they are.
Right.
Or this person likes to spend money, but that's who they are. You
Right.
learn to accept people for who they are.
Hmm.
And then you understand whether you want that around you,
Right.
near you, or you can't or not. So then it moves forward. So
Yeah.
yeah, you have to know, okay, that's me.
And so modeling, how
Yes,
did
ma'am.
you and when did you decide, or how did it come about that you was going to grace this runway?
I initially started modeling when I was in high school.
Hmm.
It was for a boutique. I was real tiny. I was a petite model. And
Right.
then, in all honesty, I did that because it became a booster. And it
Hmm.
was nice. I enjoyed it. It was fun wearing the pretty clothes and everything and walking, looking pretty in the boutique clothing, but then I stopped. Really, after my mom passed, a lot of stuff stopped.
Hmm.
So after she passed, I started back again when a friend of mine who's a photographer needed a what he called a muse, a
Right.
person to sit there and look pretty so he can do pictures and
Right.
set things up, lighting, all that stuff.
Hmm.
And then he was like, "You are really pretty.
Right.
Okay, you should be a model." I was
Right.
like, "I used to do that. I don't do that no more.
Hmm.
I'm a mom. I'm a mom. I got this going on." He was like, "Okay, let's do it anyway." And so we started taking pictures, submitting pictures, magazines, and everything. And then the rest is history.
Wow. But do you, because I know you saved, I know that. But don't you find it so refreshing when you can go to shows and inspire other women because of the anointing and the grace that God puts on you?
Yes, it
Because
is
you know,
very refreshing to come off the runway and
yes,
hear the compliments,
yes,
the garments. They're like, we see your clothing, we see where you pose, we see
right,
everything, and you make um, it respectful. Like
right.
you really, really let us know that you can be sexy and beautiful, but yet clothed. I
And
said, well, don't understand that there are ways to be sexy, be
right,
a woman,
right,
and love yourself.
right.
You can be sexy in jeans and a t-shirt. You can wear lingerie and still be sexy. We have to learn to be respectful because the first thing they'll say is, "Oh, you're a certain age. You're a mom." A mom can be beautiful. She can be sexy. Oh, you in church. You
Yeah,
can be sexy and beautiful. There's nothing wrong. There are some gorgeous first ladies. They
exactly.
sit there with the heels on,
Yes,
nice skirts and everything.
yes.
You are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You covering up beauty. You
Right.
were not meant to be just draped and everything. And I do not have a problem with any religion that does that. But
Exactly. And so
even then you are still beautiful
you are.
because their eyes are beautiful, their face is beautiful, their hands are beautiful. But that is a choice you choose for your religion, and that is fine. And even then, they are gorgeous.
Yes. And with that being said, do you find that I don't know what happened to her, but we're going to get back on. And the question that I was going to ask her is, do she find, we're going to try to get her back on. Do she find that when you start modeling, okay, hold on. I'm going to get her on, guys. Just bear with me. I don't know, me and her. Hold on. I'm trying to get her back on. It's adding her. And a lot of times, like I was going to ask her, and if you guys are just coming on, thank you guys for tuning in. Penelope, Karen, my aunt Josie, Martha, and I think Crystal is still on here. But a lot of times when you are in the modeling world, as Minher was talking about, a lot of times people portray you as something different when you start to model different outfits. But like she said, you still can be sexy and you still can be classy and still be saved. You can still be saved. But when you don't know who you are and don't know your worth, that's when you start to that's when you start to doubt and allow people to put their own perception or their own views on you. Because there were times in my life that I didn't feel worthy enough about who I was, because I allowed people and things to validate who Donna was. But when I got saved and started to love me and started to know who I was and what I wanted for myself, then I knew my self-worth. And a lot of times we don't know our self-worth because we allow other people, we allow cars and houses, our wives, our, friends or whoever to decide our self-worth. But when we can look in the mirror, which is her book is called Mirror Imperfection, that's when we can love who we are. That's when we can really love who we are. Um, okay, she says she's having trouble. I'm gonna try one more time, and if not, her and I will still try to reschedule and finish up. But if you have not been on here, we was talking about your imperfection, and it's just, I know it's going to be a read. And before we got this, I was saying, when you were talking about being sexy, being a Christian, being a model, I was going to tell you that that goes back to your book, Mirror Imperfection. Because when we cannot own our flaws, then that's when we allow people to make us feel unworthy in whatever we do.
Right.
And so when you started modeling, did you have those insecurities? Did you have those mirror imperfection, if you will, when you started back?
I did, because remember I had started having children.
Right.
So I had those physical attributes. I was
Mhm.
thinking of what they felt like I should look like
Right.
instead of what I should be, and accepting who I was, the curves, the long legs, the beautiful face, instead
Right.
of accepting that I'm not like somebody else. I am unique and I am made the way I am made, and to accept the way I'm made.
Right. And so now when you get on the runway, do you still have those mirror imperfections, or are you at a place in your life that you feel worthy and you know that you are worthy?
Oh, I love me. I really do love me. Um, I actually, those things that used to stand out to me and bother me, they're actually my springboard for, okay, I got that. I'm
Right.
working on that.
Right.
Okay, I got that. But that's what makes me different. So my whole response has shifted.
Good.
Oh, you got all them hips, or you got all this. They're focusing on certain things a part of me. You got
Right.
this going on. And then my response is always, okay, yes, I do.
Right.
But you asked for this particular person, you booked this particular person,
Right.
and on the card, it gave you my stats.
Right.
So I'm accepting and loving of what I have. That's
Exactly.
not made for me. That's okay. You have something made for me.
Right. And what when you model, is there any, do you take every show or do you pick and choose what's conducive for you and where you at
I
in
do
your life?
not do every show.
Okay.
Every show is not meant for your brand. And
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
I said brand
I,
because and
yes.
when I came to that branding, that's when I learned my worth, not
Right.
just as a model, but just as a person. I
Right.
am a brand,
That's right.
whether I'm on the runway or off the runway. I'm a
Exactly.
brand.
Me too. And you know what? And I think when people start looking at their self like that, because at the end of the day, our brand is all we have.
That's right.
And and just like, with me, I don't try to be in the latest, hottest happening, or should I say what everybody else think the hottest happening fashion show or whatever. And when I first got into it, I would just be like, well, why, I don't do this. But then when I started knowing who I was, I'm like, that's not for me.
Right.
I'm okay with that because, like you said, at the end of the day, if your brand gets tarnished, sometimes it's hard to rebrand.
It very much is. It's very challenging because during the course of my modeling, I changed my model name.
Okay.
And it took a lot because you have to work just as hard to disconnect yourself from that as you did in this new brand.
Right.
So a lot of people know my new name because I really worked hard for that. But that was when I actually became to love me.
Right.
So
Right.
I said, no, I'm no longer that. This
Hmm.
is truly me.
Right.
This is me. The name that I chose is actually me. My family called me Lady. So why
Yeah.
not use what I have? So when I came through and named myself Lady John Ray, that was my name, Jones Reeves. It's
And
kind of funny how you take that particular end and
mhm.
whatever you were running from and you use it as your springboard to
Yeah.
elevate yourself to another level. So basically I accepted being a woman. I
Hmm.
accepted my past and what I
Right.
grew up as, and I accepted my future because yes, that was my husband at that time, and we went on and moved forward because the two cannot be separated, but it does not mean that I can't move forward to a very prosperous future with the new and improved me.
Girl, I love
Flaws and all.
it flaws it out. And that's so funny that you say that because when I started modeling, I started off as just Donna because I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I never did it before. And it's funny because my model name is Lady D.
Yes. And she is that lady on that runway. Yes.
And, and but I had to build up to her.
Mm-hmm.
Build up to her, and that's just real talk, because like you said, when you get into this world, you look at other women and you be like, oh, their walk is so banging, and and they got this and they got that. And then I don't know if you remember a runway coach named Alvin Page. You remember him?
Yeah, I remember her name. Mm-hmm.
Because he's like, I guess, in Europe somewhere, because he's the
He's
runway.
big.
And so I remember taking a class with him, and I was telling him my insecurities or whatever. And he looked at me, he said, let me tell you something, how this business goes. He
Mm-hmm.
said, every woman has a signature walk, and it's her
Right.
own signature walk. And he said, because you think this other model has a banging walk, and you think you just have a little mediocre walk, this may be the walk that this designer is looking for. It may be
Mm-hmm.
your walk. He said, so don't ever go into a show thinking that a model is out walking you.
Exactly.
He said, you go in there thinking, hey, there may be somebody looking for my walk. And that
Mm-hmm.
was the pivoting moment that I had to love my imperfection that I thought was an
Mm-hmm.
imperfection.
I had an imperfection with my walk too. And I think, yeah, you should know. You know Lolita. Lolita here, right? Oh my gosh. I work with her and another person, and that was my issue, is because of my own dispositions of my legs. It was bow-legged. So my walk was always mentioned at every model call. And I felt so insecure about it. And she says, come on, this is your walk. Embrace your walk. She says, you have two things working for you and against you. And
Mhm.
I was so confused about it. She
Right.
says, you are curvaceous
Hmm.
and you're bow-legged. So they
Right.
work for you and against you.
Mhm.
Designers want that.
Yeah.
They want their clothing filled out.
Right. Right.
You just have to find the you in
Yeah.
what you have going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Embrace it. And so she helped me out. She didn't change very much. All she told me was to walk more confidently in what
Mhm.
I have and embrace what
Right.
I was given. She
Right.
says, "You got it, flaunt it, girl." And ever
Right.
since then,
You've been flaunting
I
it.
walked through. I said, "Okay, I got it. I'm gonna do my strut." So when she do that loco strut, I said, "Yes, hunty."
I
So
know.
yes,
You know,
I love her.
I watch you, and when my content manager was doing your flyer, he was like, "She is really beautiful." And I said, "Yeah," and because he gets on me sometimes because, like, when you sent your pictures, like he was when I showed him, he was like, "Okay, show me the pictures." So I showed him the pictures. He was like, "Perfect." He was because he's always on me about. He said, "Tell them I need two pictures," and I said, "I tell them that." He's like, "I need you to change your language." He was like, "Tell them I need two professional pictures." And so, because this is how, and this goes back to branding.
Mm-hmm.
As he told me, he said, "This is who you are. Hot Topics with Donna is this is your brand."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "So when you go on, you're not having all your cleavage and, things just everywhere." He said, "So when I do your flyer," he said, "I have a picture of you clothed, ladylike, and then you have someone that looks half naked." He said it doesn't mix.
Mm-hmm.
He said, because when people look at this flyer and say, "Well, what kind of show do she, have?"
Well, what kind of people she got on that show?
Right. And so, and I was getting offended, but then he said, "It's not about, it's about your brand." And he
Mm-hmm.
said, "Because you are your brand." He said, "So if I have an elegant picture on your flyer of you, then the people that's going to be on your show need to have a tasteful picture as well." And so now, I gotten to the point where I understand because, like you said, the branding is what it's all about. And,
Right.
and I thank Jacob because he shares my stuff and, and he's always like, "Your brand is moving, it's moving." But that's because my content manager makes sure that my stuff is right before it goes out, before he say, "Okay, look at it," or whatever. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
to make me more aware of my brand, he makes mistakes on my flyers just to see
If
if
you
I,
pay attention.
if I'm gonna pay attention. And I'm like, "Well, that's rude." He's like, "No, it's not." He said,
It's
"That's
you taking pride in your brand.
right." He said, "That's making you check over your stuff. Don't just say, 'Oh yeah, it's good,' and you trust in me, which you should." But he was like, "But you need to go behind me and say, 'No, this not right, this not right.'" So I'm learning that because sometimes it's hard when you want to critique someone, but he made me realize that this is my brand.
Mm. And
I
see,
have
you know what? What you're talking about, that's what some people get mad at me about. They be like, "Why are you so particular? Why are you so particular about what pictures people put out of you? Even if it's a selfie, even if it's this." I said, because, and they made the comparison, and I love Beyonce. "You're not Beyonce." I said, "No, I'm not Beyonce.
right,
I'm Lady Jean Ray. Oh, I'm She Diddy." So when you see pictures of She Diddy,
right,
they're going to be a certain way. When you see pictures of Lady John Ray or
right,
Arthur L.C. Jones Reeves, you know what it looked like. Each one of them have their own distinct
right,
branding. And it was like
right.
even my flyers that I create for them, you have to understand that when you're in multiple areas doing multiple things, you have to be precise and distinct about that.
Mhm.
Take pride in your work, take pride in who you are, so that when they say your name carries something that is respectful. So
Exactly.
it does go back again to knowing your worth. And
Yeah.
as I've learned and
Mhm.
grown and really, really honed in on the branding and the
Mhm.
my word, that means what I put out doesn't go out all kind of ways.
Right.
and my flyers, my events, even my pictures. I'm strategic and specific on what I put out about me. And a lot of people was like, they want to know stuff about me and who
Yeah.
I am and what I do because we don't know you. We just know what we see on Facebook and everything. What you see is a respectful professional in
Mhm.
all genres.
Right. Right.
No matter what it is, you're going to see me present myself in a certain way. If I'm wearing lingerie, she's going to be respectful. If I'm
Exactly.
doing a inspirational speaking event,
Hmm.
I'm going to dress for that occasion. And if I'm
Exactly.
performing, I'm going to give you a show. As a
Exactly.
lot of people have lately said, "Oh my gosh, you put on a show." And I said, "Well, I'm a performer. That's what I do."
Exactly. So let me ask you this too. So your page, is that your, do you have a separate business page like on Facebook versus your personal page? Because I know, I don't know what we get kicked off again, but like we were talking about your branding. Branding is everything. And we must brand ourselves in every areas of our lives, whether it's our personal life, whether you have a business that you're trying to start, your model, your entertainer, you must always represent yourself accordingly, because at the end of the day, you are your brand. You are your brand. And if you don't represent yourself well, then no one else is going to represent you how you should be represented. They're just not.
Nope.
You know? And so I'm seriously thinking, and you can tell me your feedback about totally just making my Facebook page just totally about my business.
I have separate pages. I have separate pages for each one. So they
Okay.
are distinct. You can actually look up each individual page for
Okay.
author, for the music,
Mm-hmm.
and for me in modeling. They are not the same. Yes, I share some on my Facebook page because my family and friends are there and they got to see what's going on. Because they'll be like, "Well, what's going on with you?" So I'll share something there. Or
So
they're tagging me and stuff. But
so
I
let
do keep everything separate.
so should I delete my personal page and keep it, or should I just start a new business page?
You
Be-
know, you can start a group, actual group, go on Facebook and start something on there. Um, it'll have a group page. You can make it public and that'll be your page. If you start a whole new Facebook page, then that's truly a choice you would have to make
Yeah,
because it would
because
start from the ground up, but you'd have to set it up totally different and you set up your personal because you're going to have some personal interaction. You're going to want to put some personal stuff out there, and you're not going to want to put that on your business page. So
no,
I
no.
personally wouldn't close out my personal page. I would just, if you're going to do that, move a lot of your business to another page. I started on my personal page. I started some groups that are
Hmm.
my business. Each
Well,
one's
maybe
on there. They're controlling. It's controlled. I have somebody over it. I have a personal assistant who does that.
right.
So when I'm busy, they keep the content going,
And
and
that's
I'm
what,
fine with it.
and so that's because my son, he's in the music industry too in California.
Mhm.
So like my intro song is totally written and composed by him. And that's
Oh,
what he was saying today.
congratulations.
Yeah, and so he wants me to have more content on a business side
Um,
versus personal, because he said once you start being out there, just like
yep,
you
you
in the
want to check it
life,
out.
people are starting to, they have more access to it.
Right? And that's when you start to shut your personal page down. That's why you separate it too.
Yeah.
But and that's why I have it more so going to the business pages. That's why I make sure I share from my business page
Mm-hmm.
what I
Okay.
have. So creating a business page, yes, that is. You set that business Facebook page up totally different than you set your personal page up.
Yeah, and I think that's something I need to work on, because people crazy.
Oh, I no,
Girl,
I've experienced that.
I be getting stuff, and I'm like, I don't even know where they came from. Because you know, if somebody send you a friend request, I know I do. I be looking through there to see how many people that I actually know personally that I can call and say, hey. who is this person?
Mm-hmm.
You start getting people from different countries and you don't have no mutual friends. No,
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And,
But the
and that's
problem with that is I travel internationally.
right.
So some of them I actually did meet, and it's like, okay, is this who I met over there? Oops. So I try and give them my Instagram, but you know,
Exactly. But you
so
know,
it's like,
they want to find you, they find you. And
they do.
so
So that's the issue.
before we close up, how did you, Miss Lady, start getting
Yes.
into acting?
I got into acting by accident. That was really accident. I never wanted to act. I didn't even, the day they wanted me to do that, I was filling in for somebody else.
Right.
So it's been a lot of blessed interactions, encounters where I would be in the right place at the right time. I was there
Right.
helping out because they needed somebody to fill in, to stage in a spot,
Mm-hmm.
and I helped them out. And the person, I guess, eventually didn't show up, so I ended up filling in permanently for it. Started off as a play, and then the next thing I know, a friend of mine had a web series, and she needed somebody to fill in, and she had seen me at the web series, the
Mm-hmm.
play I did, for school, and the rest has been history ever since. I've done quite a few movies. Um, Matter of fact, one of my songs I helped write is in a movie out now, and that's amazing. It's awesome. So um,
My favorite,
it's just,
and speaking of that, you did, and I don't know if it was just for a promo or if it was for real. You did I saw a YouTube and you did flawless wine promo. Is that
mhm.
a legit wine that's coming out?
It's one of my wine lines. It's my personal wine line. It's called
Wow.
Flawless. I introduced a new one recently. I have three different flavors. My first one was blue raspberry. My second one is peach and mango. And now, as of Thanksgiving, I now have green apple. So it's
So,
called Flawless.
so where can people purchase your wine?
They can purchase it from me. I have a wholesaler here, but they can purchase it from me.
Because when I saw it, I was like, well, maybe you was just doing a promo, type
I
thing.
was doing a promo,
But
but
I wasn't thinking it was your wine line.
it
Girl,
actually is
you are.
Flawless.
I love it because I was like, oh, okay, well, and then I was like, it's vegan too. Like, so
It is. It is vegan
you is, mm, I love it. I
because
love
I
it.
became very health conscious. My daughter has her own energy water because she does her own energy water. She has a strawberry water out now, and it's real good. So we really started getting into the health and wellness. When I said
Right.
I really found out about myself and the
Mm-hmm.
things we did, I really was really checking on that. So the infused water is really good. She sells that. And so my kids are getting into the entrepreneurial mindset more so than anything else. So it's affecting change in the community. And I'm
Right.
loving it because kids are wanting to do stuff, parents are wanting to do stuff, wanting to write books. And so it's become it's
It's like a family business.
it's more so growing in a
Right.
positive way. So it's people are reaching out, hey, how did you do this? How did you do that? Can I
So,
do this? Yes, you can do anything. All things are
and,
possible.
but you have to make sure you put where people can contact, to get your daughter's water, your wine.
Mhm.
But let me ask you this because I am 2 chapters, but away from doing my book.
Okay.
Um, and for me, it's the name of my book is called Imperfect Marriage Saved by Grace. It's like
Ooh.
a memoir of me and my husband's life. It starts from my earliest recollection of my book is going to start when I was 3 years old, all the way
Mhm.
down. And
Okay.
um, I struggle with completing it because, once it's done, that's chapter is done.
Mhm.
That is completely done. But I wanted to ask you, how did you choose your book cover? because you know your book cover is supposed to speak, and I loved your book cover.
I chose my book cover purposefully um, because I chose it to have tears. I
Mm-hmm.
chose it to have broken glass. I chose it to have a unisex face. So whomever read the book knew that this is not for man, this is not for woman, this is for a person who really wants to find themselves. It had nothing to do with man hating, women hating. I've had to make that very clear, and I wrote in a way that it wasn't gender specific because I came across males who went through more than I went through. And
Right,
I came across some females who went through more than I went through. So I wanted my book to be that way. But I also wanted my book to be welcoming to both male and female. I didn't want the cover to be too dark and give
right,
you this gloomy feeling, but I wanted you to understand that there is um, a way out. So
right,
that's the purpose of the broken portion because
right,
you can get out of this. But the
right.
tears are because you're going through the pain. I want it to be really seen. And the silhouette is because this is for you,
Mm-hmm.
not me. This is for you. This was not written for me, even though it helped me. And I'm
Right.
finding it has helped more people because they have written messages in my inbox. And so the cover and the name were purposeful
Yeah.
because it is you looking at yourself,
Mm-hmm.
nobody else. This is
Mm-hmm.
your journey. You. Nobody else can tell you what's wrong with you. People were telling me, "Ooh, you fat. Ooh, you got this. Ooh, you got that stomach."
Right, right,
But if you like that extra right there, love on every inch of you. But in
right,
loving on that inch, make sure you are happy with it. Make sure
right.
you're healthy. Do that self check. Make
Yeah.
sure you go get checked out. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure you know that you can literally hug yourself at night. And when you're by yourself and you
Mm-hmm.
go out to eat, you can love on you.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? That's a thing that I used to have a problem with.
I did too.
I when I decided to love on myself, I was
Hmm.
able to go out to eat by myself because you're so used to getting your girlfriends together, or your husband, your significant other. You're so used to getting them to go out to eat with you. But when I went out by myself, I'm gonna tell you what, that was the most terrifying thing ever in my life. But
The first time, yes.
I knew I needed that for Donna. And you know what? I found out that I really enjoy me.
I found that my first time going out by myself, I was sitting around. I literally sat at the table and I looked around.
Yes.
And at first, I thought it was kind of creepy. I'm like, these
Right.
people probably think something wrong with me. And then the next thing I know, I was at the table eating and enjoying myself. The quiet, the peace, serene. The lady said, it's time to go. I said, oh man, because you was able to kind of decompress
Yes.
and just when I got back, I was so inspired by so much stuff. Like the thoughts, the clarity, and everything
Yes.
was just unreal. That I was like, you know what? I need to schedule some more time. So then that's when I started scheduling to go get my massages. I do massages, but I had to start taking care of me. That's when things really kind of clicked. Like, girl, you
Mhm.
gotta take care of you. Started going to get my nails done, my feet done. I ain't had to get no polish, just getting it done, just touch. And then
And,
that moment when you get your hair washed, it was like,
and,
you know what, honey, I don't care how long you take, just get this done. Just
and
that moment.
exactly. And when we can do that, and when we really love ourselves, we can do those things. And that's why
Mhm.
when I was looking through your reviews, it made my heart smile because I said, these two guys, Michael and Nigel, if they're married or not married, in a relationship or whatever, because of this book, they're going to learn it's okay to be a male, it's okay to be masculine, and it's okay to have imperfections and not afraid to say to that woman or their wives that they have imperfection. And the most powerful thing is when we realize we have imperfections and we're willing to change them, then that's when we can grow.
You know, that's very healing to our community because um, biblically they're here. So if our men are in alignment and they are healed, then
Yeah.
the healing is a trickle down, or as they say, a dominoes effect. So then
Yes.
now we're raising young men who are
Yes.
strong and
Yes.
secure within the
Yes.
fact that they are able to express themselves, but
Mm-hmm.
yet still secure in their manhood to
Yeah.
know that they are providers. But it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to express themselves. It's okay to understand that you hurt sometimes, but
Right.
then it's not okay to walk around whining all day. No, it's not okay because now you're not productive. You're not moving forward. You're not progressive. It's okay. Look at yourself,
Mm-hmm.
fix it.
Fix
Don't
it.
sit and wallow in it.
Mm-mm.
And I figure if they start looking at themselves, maybe the guns will come out their hand because they'll realize there's a
Yeah.
better way to solve this problem. Because
Yeah.
once I pull this trigger,
Mm-hmm.
that's it. That
Yeah.
bullet goes through. That's it. There ain't no
That's it.
coming back from that. I figure once I take that bottle to the head, and I'm drinking all my problems away,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing. But hey, how about I put that bottle down, get some water, go out for a walk,
Mm-hmm.
go work out, because then you probably got other things going on. Before I go do some type of drug, before I go beat my girlfriend or
Right.
whatever, maybe there is a better way. Maybe it's not her. Maybe it's me mad because of work. Maybe it's
Exactly.
my homeboy. I need to go out with my homeboy, shoot some
Right.
ball, lift
Right.
some weight, go take a drive. Whatever it is that you do to vent and get it off. Because once you pull the trigger, that life is over.
Their life is over. And
Not
that's why,
just theirs, yours.
because
Two lives lost at one time.
exactly, I have two male sons, and I remember growing up. I never wanted to be that mom that say, "Oh, you toughen up. Boys don't cry. You fall down." I was that mom that say, "Okay, are you okay? Let's get up. Let's check it out." Because when we do that, we we create in them anger. They don't know how to express themselves because we're telling them, you're a boy, boys aren't supposed to cry. But the same God that created me as a woman, he created you too. So he gave you the same feelings that he gave me.
Right,
And that's why I never told him, oh, don't cry. Yeah, if it hurts, you cry. Because then when you get in a relationship, you're going to know how to love your wife or your girlfriend. You're going to know how to be sensitive and say, wow, maybe today she's PMSing, and you're going to know that she's PMSing, and you're going to know how to deal with her in a more
right.
sensitive way without feeling like,
Mhm.
oh, well, get over it. It's something you have all the time. But no, if she's PMSing, then you're going to be able to say, what can I get you
Right,
to ease this pain? Do you need some Tylenol? Do you need me to just lay here and just rub your stomach?
right,
Because you've been sensitive. You're teaching them to be sensitive. And we
right.
have started to raise insensitive young boys that turn in
Mhm.
insensitive, selfish adult men.
Right,
And then
exactly.
that's when they can't see their imperfections because
Hmm.
some mamas done messed them up.
Yep.
And
And
that's,
then some daddies done said, boy, man up.
yes,
But
yes.
what does it mean to man up? Did you teach them that? Now, if
No,
you tell them um, it's okay to be upset, it's okay to do it, show them how to handle that emotion. If
exactly.
you're going to say man up, how to handle that emotion in a positive way.
Hmm.
You can
Hmm.
be upset because I know they're going to get upset. It happens. But what
Yes,
do they do? This is when you teach them what to do with that aggression because that's where you have the men that beat on women. because you didn't teach them how to do it. That's when they revert to drinking. That's when they revert to the gangs. That's when they revert to shooting. You didn't teach them
Nope.
what way to do what with what. Sometimes you got to tell them, oh, well, wait a minute. Let me breathe real quick. Is it worth what I'm about to do? So teaching them to think before they act.
Right.
We don't teach them that. That's females too, because we as women, we provoke men as well.
We do, and that's why sometimes we are emotionally disconnected.
Hmm.
And I've been in a relationship where I have been emotionally disconnected. And and the sad thing is that in a relationship, whether it's male or female, sometimes you have already checked out and they don't even know when you checked out.
Yes, now that is true. And that's the
Oh,
sad part about it. And it's unfair to the
yeah.
other person
Yes,
because
yes,
you have, they're defeated and they didn't even know they was in a battle.
yep, yep, yep. And so getting to your singing, my favorite songs was
Uh-oh.
Endless Cycle, Mirror,
Hmm.
Mirror Imperfection, and Survivor. Those
Oh,
was like,
wow. Why? Why is that?
because the endless cycle, when you said break those endless cycles, it made me think about generational curses. It made me think about how we stay in our mess because of mama, grandma, cousin, and it just keep repeating itself. And then when we have children, it just
Mhm.
it just keeps it just keeps going.
Right. That's exactly where it came from. Because that song was birthed during a time when I was doing family check family checking out my family and those things that I was going through. And then it started showing up in family. Then I
Yeah.
started seeing, well, I got this aunt that has this. I got this uncle that has this. I got a cousin who has this. Well, we got this. And I was like, what the world? Then I looked at that cousin and this cousin was going through. So it was just like,
Yeah.
well, wow. And it was just like different ones on this
Mhm.
side. So it was all just continuing. So,
Right.
okay, when is this going to end? Somebody got to end it.
Somebody.
And
Yeah.
so that's where that birthed from.
And I like that one. And then the mirror imperfection, you said perception is in the eye of the beholder.
Hmm.
And when we see things with our eyes, we have to make sure we take the film off so we can see clearly. And that's why I love that, because it reminded me of, when we're born, how, the old people used to say, oh yeah, the babies still have like the scales, over their eyes, and they can't really see clearly. They see their faces, but it's not clear. And that's why I like that one, because it reminded me that sometimes I can be looking at something and it may not be really what I'm looking at, because
Right.
I'm still blind, and I need to take the blinders off in order for me to see what's really before me, even if I don't like it,
Yes, ma'am.
you know?
Hmm.
And then the one, the survivor, whatever causing you pain, you have to learn to let it go so you can heal, so you can grow, so you can get what you need.
That's exactly right.
And when you survive, that means even though you had to endure the pain, you're still here.
Hmm.
And so that's why I love those three. for me, because I've been in an endless cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in mirror imperfection, and I survived.
Exactly.
So
Awesome.
and those are the songs. And then I like the Christmas songs. Um, the holiday song is Christmas. I told you, girl. I'm telling you, like I had so. I mean, it's just amazing when people can be honest, open, and transparent with their failures and shortcomings and their challenges. Because for me, it makes us greater people.
Mm-hmm.
It makes God's job easy when we can accept our own mirror imperfections. So now when we have embraced our imperfection, He's given us confidence. So now when we can go tell our story without shame, without people saying, oh, I remember what you used to. Yeah, I did those things.
Mm-hmm.
Because of who He is and because of me being a masterpiece, you can hold on to those things. But I know who I am now. So I'm not ashamed of what I've done because He has forgiven me. All I'm concerned about now is how my mirror imperfections can help somebody else.
Yes. And that has been, I have said that so long. My kids even say that. So I'm like, well, my mom, that's what my mom's montage is. I say, yes. If I
Yeah,
only affect one, because I was in the military, and that's what I used to tell my soldiers the same thing. And they
yeah,
was like, well, I was like, it's okay.
yeah.
You're not going to do everything right. I don't
No,
expect you to be perfect. I
right,
expect you to give me your very best. I don't expect you to do like them. I expect you to do your very best. And if you give me your very best, and this is all that you have right here, and I know you genuinely gave me that,
yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
My kids the same way because my mom instilled that in me. I
yeah,
want you to give me your very best. If your
yeah.
very best is a C and it's in this particular subject, and I seen you up
Mm-hmm.
night studying and everything, then baby, we're gonna celebrate that C like it's an A. If you was able to get a D and it's a few points off, but that's all you could give me, that's okay.
Right.
To other people, it'll look like a failure, but to me,
That's
it's
right.
a success. So successes are done by persons and effort, not by everybody else's standard. And I
Right.
never truly understood that until I went through that stuff. My
Right.
kids were going through that stuff. I didn't understand the flaws, the stigmatism, and everything till my daughter had her issue with her particular situation
Right.
where she had something going on and she didn't like it. And it hurt me. It ripped my heart out. But that's why I made it my business. When you see them, they are confident in knowing that they are beautiful no matter what. When people try and talk about whatever they see is wrong with them, they don't have to worry about it. These
No.
kids have already been instilled that you are unique, you are God's blessing, and whatever they see and talk about, they don't even worry about it. They say, okay, that's me. It don't change. If I want to change it, I'll change it. I
Exactly.
don't want to change it because that makes me who I am. And they will say their full name, and I am happy with that. If you don't like it, guess what? That's your problem. And that's where they walk up. They're talking about, why they talk like that? I said, because they love who they are.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of it. When we can teach our kids now, we can teach them now. But I'm telling you what, I think me and you can just talk for days. But in our closing, what is one thing that you would say to women and men that may be struggling right now in their own mirror imperfection? What would you tell them?
I would tell them that it's okay to be a mess, but you are a blessed mess because you are still here in the number.
Yeah.
You are here for a reason. I don't care what nobody else says. I don't care what nobody else does. I don't care who you was from last year. You
Mm-hmm.
can look at that person and see who you was last year. I don't care if
Mm-hmm.
you had a big job making big money. Now this year you making less money. But look at this. You are here. You still have an opportunity to do greater. I
Yes.
have been there. I've been where I've been making a lot of money. I've been where I'm making no money. And we were still all right because you are here. You are a blessing to this world. Whatever you've been through, use it. It is a tool.
Yes.
Embrace it. Love
Embrace.
on you
Mm-hmm.
every night. Give yourself a big old hug and say, I love you,
Yes.
flaws and all.
Flaws and all. And in our closing, I just want to say thank you. Thank you. I've truly, truly enjoyed this interview, and I'm truly, truly thankful that we had some women on here that truly needed this word tonight. And thank you for just saying yes and just being honest, open, and transparent. And one thing that I want to say, and I love it, it says coming to terms with what my reality took, where my reality took me on, and how you bounce back is better than ever if you're in the same position. And that's real talk. That's real
Hmm.
talk.
Yes, ma'am.
But I thank you. I thank you so much. Thank you for just watching Hot Topics with Donna. Thank you for just saying yes. And like I tell people, I don't take this platform for granted because when I started doing this, I had no idea where God was going to take this because I started out doing my lives from doing paparazzi jewelry, before my husband passed away for my nonprofit for young girls. And then I used to get inspirational words at the end, and then he said, "Okay, I need you to be on this side." And so it has been challenging. I'm truly thankful because when I started,
Hmm.
every month was already full, and just like going into the new year, I am already into March,
Yes, ma'am.
and I know it's nothing but him. And just like I said, I'm not only doing this to be popular; I'm doing it to just change one life. If
Hmm.
that if one interview changed one life, then I'm good with that. I'm
Exactly.
I'm good with
That
that.
way it's not a tiring journey. It's a success no matter what.
Yeah, yeah, yep. And and I'm just like you said, I'm doing what he wants me to do. And if he doesn't want me to do it, then I can't do it because I know if I do it myself, then it's not gonna last.
Nope, it's
It's
not. Matter of fact, it's not even going to have the blessings
no,
and the journeys and the connections will not even be
they
made.
no. But I thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon and just continue on your journey. We're waiting for more books to come out because as you can see, people really want to see what's next for you. And that's the
Well, I
beauty.
did co-author a book. It's called Daughters of a King,
Okay.
and that's out now.
So can you get that on Amazon as well?
That's on
Okay.
Amazon now.
Okay.
That's out now. That just came out, so that's available now.
Okay. Okay.
You can get that out. So that is actually something you can read. It has some encouraging words, especially
Good.
for those who are dating or thinking about dating, or just maybe in a place in their relationship, marriages that
Mhm.
may have some questions. It's something
Yep.
that can help them.
Maybe I need to get it.
You know what? I have learned that wisdom never stops until you stop.
No, it doesn't, because, like I said, I'm doing this new dating thing and, it's
It's been
good.
a very interesting path. I promise you. I think they need to have a book out for this. And I don't think it would be it would be a worldwide book because it is very interesting to be out there and
Yeah,
dating.
yeah, yeah. But it's been good. But like I said, I am not against growing. I'm not against learning how to continue to be a better me, you know.
Mhm.
But I am against changing to please anybody that's not going to be, you know, wanting me to be something different, because I done did that. That didn't work too well for me, because
Right. You gotta be you.
it had me in a mirror imperfection place. So,
Yes,
so,
ma'am. I can't. Who is this in the mirror? I don't know who this is.
so from here on out, relationships, whether it's friendships, you know, with family, whoever it may be, I'm just not willing to compromise who this person is. I,
Right. You
I
gotta be you.
because I worked too hard. I worked too hard to go back, because I don't want to take that chance, because I could go back and not bounce back, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
So,
That's
you know,
that's something that I had a fear of. And then I said, you know what? I'm not fearing anything because if I have to take a step back, it's
mhm.
something that I needed to learn
Right,
and I'm
right,
willing to learn it.
right,
So I don't fear learning. I just fear not knowing,
right,
not
right.
re not the guidance and not the encouragement. So
Yeah,
grace and mercy,
girl.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, but I'm just excited about reading the book. I probably will order it this week. So while I'm on my 2 week vacation, and so if I reach out to you after I read this book and have you come back on, because I'm telling you, the little bit I read, I so can relate, because you know what? We live in a reality that we want people to think we got it a-okay. And then, you know, I always tell people, especially, you know, I don't know if you call it judgment. I don't know, God, if it is, forgive me. But you know, I watch people's posts, and you know, they're posting all this stuff, and you know, oh, I'm so this, and all this stuff. And then I sit back and I say, well, Lord, are they really like this? Or while they are posting this, are they crying? Are tears rolling down their faces? But yet and still, they're living in their own, now that I know it is all, mirror imperfection. But they want people like you and me used to do, pretend we got it all together, but secretly
Right.
crying at night.
Some that's what I used to wonder. I look at posting too. I don't look on Facebook as much as I used to
Mhm.
because I find it's a distraction.
Right.
A lot of times people are doing stuff for attention,
Yes.
or it is an outcry for help, or an
Right.
outcry for I need some security. I
Mhm.
need that. Even if there was in a bad relationship, people putting a lot of stuff out on Facebook, but sometimes they say it's by joke, it's by this.
That's
Some of
their
that
real.
stuff is
That's
not a
their truth.
joke. Some of that is actually their roundabout way of telling their truth without telling their truth.
Mhm.
It's okay.
Yep.
They have their outlet. Everybody has their way of expressing themselves.
But one thing
So
that they need to know, Facebook can't fix it. Facebook can't fix our imperfections, guys. And with that being said, her and I was going to close anyway. But I just truly hope you guys were able to get something out of our interview. And if you have not saw the interview from the beginning, just go back and please share. I will put the name of her book in the news feed. LaTasha, thank you for just joining. I love you. We will get together once I finish reading my book, She Lost Connection. But guys, please, please, please know your worth. That was the word today. Know your worth. Because when you know your worth, then you can start looking at your own mirror imperfections. And when we can start looking at our own mirror imperfection, then we can start to heal. We can start to love who we are, unapologetic. But first of all, you have to be true to who you are. You have to be open, honest, and transparent and say, okay, Lord, show me what I need to work on. Show me these imperfections. And your imperfection doesn't always have to be your physical appearance. It could be your mental state, how you look at things, how you Your attitude is set up. So just love who you are. Love who you are, unapologetic. And the last quote I'm going to give you from what she wrote um, is, hold on. We have to take everything in stride and love where we at. And it's a quote, and she says, every day the sun rises with endless possibilities that give you endless opportunities to begin again and to create a brand new. So whenever we wake up in the morning, we have an opportunity to say, okay, I'm worthy today. Today's going to be a great day. Order my steps, Lord. So take every day that you see the sun rise and say, it's a new opportunity for me to know who I am, to know my worth. I said your worth, not what someone else tell you your worth is. And when you can know what your worth is, then you will be able to love others, whether it's male or female, husband or wife, significant others. You will learn how to have healthier friendship relationships. You will learn how to have healthier relationships with your family when you know your self-worth, when you allow yourself to see your mirrored imperfection. So I will be back tomorrow night with another interview, and this will be my last interview for 2021. And I'm just thankful. I'm truly, truly thankful that we're going into a new season with Hot Topics with Donna. So come back tomorrow. I will be doing my interview tomorrow with another amazing guest. And if you want to be a part of this platform, just reach out to me. On Hot Topics with Donna is where we interview ordinary people doing extraordinary things. So until then, I say good night, be blessed, and just know you are amazing. And just know you are worthy. And with that being said, you have a good night.